Dr. Hayworth, taxes and high costs of energy are prompting New Yorkers to leave and discouraging people from coming here to live or to do business. What are your plans to reverse these trends?
Well, it's definitely a terrible problem that we see every day in the Hudson Valley. People are leaving because their taxes and the cost of living are too high. With regard to taxes, we clearly need sensible tax reform. We need to even the playing field. Our small businesses, our working families, our middle class are on the hook for far too much of the bill because too many favors exist in the tax code for a lot of folks who have a lot of ability to marshal lobbyists in Washington. We need to have a voice for you in Washington, and I understand that as a small businesswoman and as a neighbor here in the Hudson Valley for 30 years. With regard to our energy policy, two-pronged approach. Number one, I, with the chamber, whose endorsement I'm privileged to have, support fully, and all of the above energy policy. We need to develop our domestic resources. That's another force for good, actually, throughout the world, and that would put us in far better strength in the Middle East. If we develop our domestic energy supplies, the price of energy will go down. We are suffering in this Hudson Valley and in this county painfully from the bureaucratic actions as well of Washington, not only because we can't develop our domestic energy as we should, and I think we should retrieve our natural gas in Western New York as well, safely and with accountability to our communities, but FERC has pursued an action that I, as a member of the House of Representatives, sought to prevent by voting for the RAINS Act, which prevents our bureaucracies from imposing regulations that cost $50 million or more on our economy. I would not have allowed FERC from the get-go to impose that energy zone price increase as it did. And that is real relief, and I will fight for that again. I have fought for it before. I am ready to fight for it again.
Thank you. Taxes and high costs of energy are prompting New Yorkers to leave and discouraging people from coming here to live or to do business. What are your plans to reverse those trends?
Well, it's a very important question. The number one thing we need to do for business is keep your taxes low, keep your energy costs low, keep the cost of healthcare down. On the energy issue, I want to tell you this has been my proudest day in Congress, was when Congressman Chris Gibson and I, a Republican, teamed up on the floor of the House of Representatives and passed legislation to stop this FERC energy rate hike in its tracks. Not in general, not with some overarching bill, this docket number specifically. And we went up against people in our own party to do it. They said you can't get it done. They said it's gonna create havoc. And he and I linked arms on the floor of the House and we said this is too important. It is $250 million a year for folks in the Hudson Valley. It's $10 million for IBM. And Marcus Molinaro will tell you it's $137,000 in cost for customers right here locally. We've got to stop this thing, and we've been partnering with our friends at Central Hudson to do this. Denise, I know Steve Lance here, Jim Larita's here. Thank you for the work you've done on this. This has been an all-hands-on-deck effort, across party lines, cooperating with people, because that's what works. And we have been supporting the local folks, and we have been in action on this. I've spoken to Senator Schumer about it personally. He's working on this in the Senate. We have passed a bill in the House of Representatives. That is more than anyone has ever done on this thing. It's more than anyone has ever done on any FERC energy capacity zone. It has never been done before. And so for the lawyers who are in court right now with our support arguing to stop it, they've got an act of the United States House of Representatives that I wrote and that I partnered with Chris Gibson to pass that is on their side. We are going to stop this thing, and what ought to happen is FERC ought to vacate the order right now and roll it back and start talking to people locally. Start talking to people locally, because we have real transmission solutions. We have real generation solutions. This is a solution in search of a problem that's going to hurt folks after the worst winter in a generation, when we are just getting going on an economic recovery, and this is going to hurt it. So I'm going to stay on this, and we have gotten real results, and I am going to keep on it, working across the aisle until we win an absolute victory and stop this thing.
Congressman Maloney, what do you plan to do to make yourself accessible to members of the local business community?
Well, listen, it's absolutely my first job in office to be accessible to all of you. I work for you. You pay the bills. I've done 30 town halls. I've done 19 telephone town halls, reaching hundreds of thousands of folks in the Hudson Valley. I'm out there just about every weekend talking to folks one at a time. And I'll tell you what it means. When I tell you we've done almost 2,000 cases for individuals coming to me It means that a small business owner like the salon owner here in Poughkeepsie who came to me and said, the IRS has got this crazy idea about my taxes and they're trying to put me out of business. We go to bat for you. If you're having trouble with a federal agency and they're treating you unfairly, I want to know about it. Because my job is to work for you. And people don't even know this sometimes. They can go to the member of Congress and I will get in the fight with you. You know, I've got a friend who runs a manufacturing company in Orange County. We're actually exporting products that we manufacture here in the United States. We need to do more of that. He should not deal with OSHA coming in and giving him a $2,500 fine because his exit sign isn't centered over the door, which is a true story. And every time I hear one of that, I get red in the face. I want you to know, when I say government ought to run like a business, I mean it. It ought to treat you like the customer. It should not be this game of gotcha because you stepped on some line or some regulation you didn't even know about, and then they hit you with some big fine. So I want you to know I'm your partner in this. And we've also been active legislatively on this to make sure that if there's going to be tax cuts, they help small business owners, they help middle-class families. We ought to let you defer your payroll taxes for a year until this economy gets going again. We ought to help you with your depreciation so you can do that more generously. I've supported legislation that will do that. And there's other things that we can do to help small business. Keeping your energy costs low is absolutely essential. We also need to export more things, and we need to support manufacturing here in the United States. I have a bill on this called the Made in America Act. I believe we can make things in America again. I believe we can build things in the Hudson Valley again and create middle-class jobs so that all of your business will have middle-class customers with money in their pocket. And that's what I'm fighting for in Congress.